gentlemen, welcome to Good Sports. We are at Conneaut Lake, of course. Beautiful back porch here to Silver Shores. Great food out here. So have you eaten at Silver Shores in a while?
Oh, yeah.
Great food. They do a good job.
Oh, yeah. I've eaten out here a few times.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the navigation company, too, for also hosting us. And, of course, John Swick, who sets things up. He's the man. He's like the glue that holds this show together.
He's the peanut butter that holds the sandwich.
That's right. To my left, of course, is co-host Dan Craven, the dude. And to my right is our special guest. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing you a live, legitimate guest. This gentleman has authored many books. He publishes monthly magazines on outdoor life, fishing, hunting, you name it, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome Rich Failer. How you doing, Rich?
Real good.
Good to have you aboard, Rich.
That's right. And later on, we got a treat, Rich. Me and Rich, we're going to go head-to-head fishing. We're going to have the first annual Good Sports Fishing Derby.
I can't wait to be a part of that.
That's right. Captained by John Swick. He's going to captain the charter. And you're going to judge and be the referee of the whole event.
You know, I'm a good referee.
Absolutely.
Regardless what people in Meadville think.
And Sean Brown's going to be there for accent. Did you check out Sean Brown's hair?
You know, I almost didn't recognize
it. It is. I mean, can we get a comparison? Let's throw to a shot right now. Let's take a look at Danny Bonaducci, circa 1974. If we can get a shot of Danny Bonaducci, circa 1974. And let's take a look at Sean Brown. You be the judge. I don't know. It's kind of, he goes crazy. Come June 7th, it's all over. The hair goes. So, anyway, we're going to have a great time out there. But first, let's talk to Rich. Rich, you started writing and getting involved in the outdoor scene as far as being a journalist, a freelance writer a long time ago. Am I correct?
Yeah. First article I sold was when I was a junior in high school back in 1970. Sold it at the Fur Fish Game.
1970. Did you have the same hairdo, same coiffure that our friend Sean Brown had?
I had a choker on and shoulder-length hair and all that jazz. Yeah, it was a little different.
Incredible, incredible. You've gotten involved in many projects, and we have a few of the books out here right now. We have the Mink Trapper's Guide. We have the World Record Book, which we're actually going to get to talk about some of the records that you actually hold or you've been awarded. Because there's a big difference between some of the language there, and you're going to explain all that.
Okay.
You've also written books on noodling. Noodling. Now, if you're
that should be a trivia question. Maybe the fans would want to write in.
That's right. You're a layman, though.
You
know, to the outdoor life. I mean, you're involved. You bicycle.
Right.
But have you ever noodled?
You know, I can't just display that here on television. I don't think that's a good
I need a definition first.
Yes, that's where we're going to have to go to Rich for a definition. What is noodling?
What is noodling?
In the outdoor realm, that's basically where you reach with your hands into the water, under a bank, and pull out either a catfish or a snapping turtle.
Sounds like...
Let me get this straight. You know, you like reach into a hole that you can't see with 5 fingers and come out with 5 fingers and a catfish or a snapping turtle.
That's the goal.
That's
Yes.
the goal.
Those are high goals.
Now, you actually ever noodled yourself?
I've come close on really hot days, but then, you know, you sort of think about it, and I sort of like being behind the camera a little better.
You like being the, the voyeur, if you will.
So I've been a participant, but not the one actually doing the grabbing.
Yes, I mean, because it can be dangerous. I mean, you're going in after a snapping turtle.
Yeah.
Is that what they're generally hunting, a snapping turtle?
In this area, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't noodle for catfish in Pennsylvania.
Do they really do taste like chicken?
Turtle?
Anything you don't know what it is tastes like chicken. Turtles, really, they have different flavors, different textures of meat.
Yeah.
But it's really mild in flavor, so basically it's the way you fix it that determines what the end taste is.
Well, that's, I mean, it sounds, I've seen the pictures of people from the Mississippi noodling for catfish, and they come up a little bit beaten up, bruised and scarred, and, you know, not knowing what they're grabbing onto. But a snapping turtle, what's the biggest danger, or, you know, of course, getting bitten by a snapping turtle. What's the other biggest danger?
Actually, I'm going to say 2. The first is you never put your head underwater to reach back under an undercut or a bank or something. Because if you would get grabbed, you wouldn't be able to get up for air.
Is that right with a snapping turtle?
Yeah, because if they're in there and they grab you, you're not going to pull them out by brute force.
No kidding.
So you never put your head underwater to reach.
You always keep your head above the waterline. Remember that when you're noodling.
The other thing is, when you're up there reaching, if your hand goes above the water line in an undercut, and you're feeling for the edge of a turtle shell, your hand's wet. You go up above the water line, you don't know you're above water. You don't get that sensation. And the minute you do that, you might be in an area where there's a muskrat. And if a muskrat goes after you, you will go to the hospital with stitches.
Is that right?
Yeah, because when they lay into you, they rip, they cut, they work you over pretty good.
So you grab this turtle. I mean, how do you get it out of there after you grab the turtle? You're a successful, at this point, you're a successful noodler.
Okay.
I mean, how do you get the turtle out from underneath the bank?
Well, the minute you touch the shell, because of the way it is shaped differently, if you have any experience at all, you'll know which end's the tail end. That's the end you grab, okay? And hopefully you can just get the tail and pull it right out.
I see.
Because they're not always in a tight spot.
Well, I mean, are the
But
turtles in head first into their cove, or?
Not always, no. Don't forget.
So you can have a dyslexic turtle that might be backwards, and you don't know which end.
Well, you know, they got to come out sometime, so they're going to turn.
Yes, either back in or park or.
That's
I don't know.
interesting.
Plus you have areas where they'll go in one way and come out another.
Yep.
They're
Now,
not always coming out the same way.
what's the way to get a snapping turtle to release off your hand?
Guaranteed way, have a thin wire or a stiff stem of a weed, put it in a nostril, they'll let go and back up right away.
Is that right?
Yeah, just put it in the turtle's nostril, and it seems like forever when you're trying to find one of those things when the turtle's got a hold of you, but it does work.
That's right. Now, I mean, we have some different magazines here. The Mint Trap. I'm gonna put some of these up here. You have the spearing. You have a spearing guide. Also, let's take a look here. You also have the making mud pies for beaver. Now, I guess there's a reason. Is this for trapping?
Yes,
That is for trapping.
it is a trapping guide, it's not a cookbook.
That is awesome. It's not a cookbook. And you also, of course, have the bear guide for baiting and trapping black bear. So you've done a lot of research and a lot of. Here's a picture of a younger Richard Failer. Let me. Can we get a tight shot of that? Look at that. That's a more rustic boondock Rich Failer.
Yes.
That was how long ago was that?
It'll
How long
work.
ago was that taken?
That one was taken probably about, well, it was the late 80s.
Late 80s. Oh, we all had the same haircut. We were all into
Yeah.
Freebird and Leonard Skinner. So.
That's it. So how long you been around the area, Richard?
I've been in Pennsylvania since I was about 3,
Okay. For my
down in Greenville all that time.
my brother-in-law Frank Martin used to be a big trapper. I don't know if you.
I know Frank very well, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Met him at all the trappers' meets,
He's-
talked to them quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering because I'm seeing all these other books with regard. This is interesting. I'm glad you came on the show today.
Yep.
Thank
Now,
you.
this is a how to catch a world record fish. This is one of the most
I gotta
interesting
read
books
that
that Rich has published, and I've actually read this myself. And you know, at this time you have you've been awarded 49 world records,
Yes.
and you've also this is all out of northwestern Pennsylvania, correct?
5 counties, most of it in Mercer and Crawford County.
Mercer and Crawford County. Now, there's a lot of different ways to look at a world record, and we've talked about this before. Now, the traditional rod, with the traditional test line, the records are going to be a lot bigger and a lot more difficult. But if you're looking at like a fly, you're saying to catch a carp on a fly rod at a certain pound test, you could do that here in Pennsylvania, couldn't you?
The best way to get a world record, if that's your purpose, if that's your goal, study the record books, and then you find out what's in your area if you don't already know, and you target a specific specific fish with a certain weight of line, with a certain technique. There are records just for ice tip-ups. There are records for power trolling for muskie. There are kept records. There are catch and release records.
Right.
So it's amazing, even now with a lot of publicity, and probably about 15 years ago, Berkeley had a promotion where anybody catching world record fish on their line, they'd give $1,000 to.
Oh, wow.
Instantly, there were some professional fishermen out there doing that. And but even with all that, there's still a lot of records out there. A lot of them, amazingly, that are vacant.
Is that
Any
right?
fish over a pound caught the right way, it's a record.
No kidding.
And
Now-
fish in this area.
Now let's take a look here. I mean, we have a lot of fishing here. What was your favorite one? What was your best experience? What was the one record fish you're the most proud of?
Wow, all fish are fun. I caught a carp. It's no longer a record. It was about 10.5 pounds. I got it in the Little Shenango on 1 pound test line with fly rod. It took me an hour and 50 minutes to land it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
Stream fish are much stronger than lake fish, and it just took a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to show the folks at home here, see if we can get a shot of this. This is a burbot, and you caught this up in Prescott, up in Erie.
Yes, off the North Pier.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this. This is back in the late 80s, I believe you caught this, or this record?
That one I don't remember. It probably says on there.
Yeah.
But a burbot is a freshwater cod. They're found right about this latitude and north, all around the world. Just like the saltwater cod we're used to hearing about in Massachusetts and stuff. They're very good eating. They're bottom fish, cold water fish. The best time to catch them, we usually start at Thanksgiving.
Right.
And we'll fish off North Pier until the ice makes it so you can't fish.
Is that right?
Fish on bottom with bait. And I've gone up there in an hour, had 4 or 5 that were 7 pounds and up.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now, this being a good eating fish, you know, I've never heard of a burbot until I read your book. And I know I've been around fishing, but I'm generally the bass, the smallmouth.
Sure. I never heard of one either, to be honest with you.
But this is kind of amazing that, you know, we have these fish around here.
Well, in Pennsylvania, you're not going to really hear about them much. That's the only place in the state you can catch them. But if you go further north, New England, up in Canada, you'll hear them called ling, lawyers. They have a lot of different common names.
Lawyers, they're called lawyers.
Yeah, that's one of the names.
Esquires.
Yes.
They're cold and deep, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, their babies aren't called fry, they're called esquires.
Esquires.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is, but that's some really great stuff. Now, I'm going to get to your monthly publications here. You put out the Outdoor Journal. Where can people find this? I mean, it's all over the area. Where can they pick up a copy?
Well, it is a free publication. You can pick it up at a number of sporting goods stores. Here in Meadville, Safari Bar is one place. We always have bundles
Safari
dropped
Bar,
off.
I've seen them up there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's too hard for me in this venue to really list them because we just scatter them all over the place.
Yep.
We have a lot of drops.
Yeah, keep your eyes and ears open. This is a free publication that goes out.
Does it go out, I'm sorry, does it go out monthly or?
Yes,
Goes
it
out
is
monthly.
monthly, statewide.
And
Thank
this is
you.
Bait Fisherman also. And this goes out statewide as well. This is monthly
That
as
is
well?
a national,
That's national?
and it's subscription driven.
That's right.
That one you have to pay for.
Yep, this one you have to pay for. And I tell you what, I've been out to see Richard's his establishment where he works. The man has a lot of research and a lot of invested in this, a wealth of knowledge. Where can people get a hold of you? I mean, if they have a question for you, they want to get a subscription to bait. You know, where do they go? What do they do? Because Dan Craven here wants to know.
I do want to know, seriously.
Okay.
Seriously, I do wanna know.
The quickest and easiest way is just to write P.O. Box 224 Greenville, and we'll get it.
All right, just address it to Bait Fisherman.
Bait Fisherman, Beaver Pond Publishing, Outdoor Journal, my name, whatever.
There's like
P.O.
a
Box
website here,
224.
That sounds good. Your website?
There's one on this magazine. What's this here at the bottom of the?
Yeah, we have for a website, PennsylvaniaOutdoorJournal.com. We have bait-fisherman.com is another website. Those are the two we have active right now.
Excellent, excellent. And you're located right out of Greenville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just a couple miles out of Greenville.
Yep, that's nice, nice area out there. So you're right in the heart of fishing country.
Oh yeah,
Now-
fishing and hunting.
Now, we're not going to give away, we don't give away all your secrets. Before we got on the boat with Captain John Swick and first mate Sean Brown, we got to ask you, where's your favorite place to fish in Northwest Pennsylvania? Because people are going to listen to that. I mean, they're going to go out there, you're going to see throngs out there fishing.
You're gonna think Tiger Woods is coming up the 18th
That's right.
green.
I'm going to give you the most accurate answer I can give you. Okay. If I had to catch a pike, it'd be the lower end of Geneva Marsh down to French Creek.
There you go.
If I had to catch a muskie, probably Pymatuming. The Tamarac's great, Conneaut Lake's great. There's a lot of good muskie waters in this area of the state.
Absolutely.
You know, it just depends on the fish. There's a lot of good fisheries around. Just depends on what you want.
What about Rat Lake behind the high school?
That's your.
You've never, that's my
yours.
secret fishing hole. I love fishing there.
Sometimes the
great time.
smaller waters are some of the better areas.
That's true.
It's easier to find the fish, and you don't get the pressure. Sometimes there's surprisingly large fish in them.
That's true. That's true. Well, we've got, I tell you folks, we got a loaded show for you here coming up. We're going to be out on the boat. Rich and I are going to go head to head, anglers going for lunkers. In fact, we're going to use words like nautical nonsense, and what other kind of words can we use to describe today's events?
Well, I mean, you
You're
know,
lost for words.
no, all those good fishing things, like, you know, You got one on the jigs. You got to use the word jig a couple times.
That's right.
You got to use
I'm probably gonna
the
eat.
bail.
I'm probably gonna eat this later, but the one word I'm gonna use, one word.
Yeah.
Gnat.
Nah.
That's right.
He's talking smack.
You got to talk about bail.
He's talking smack on
That's
me.
it. Catch and release.
That's right. I can fish. So we're going to give it a shot. And we also have safety tips with John and Sean coming up. And we have, of course, the Blue Ribbon panel, which I think we're going to film from the boat. So it'd be nice to actually get your input on your views of the world of sports. So,
Okay.
which for the most part, like we all do, we make ours up. So we really don't have fact-based, except maybe Dan. Dan's fact-based, but as far as the rest of us go, we kind of just make it up for entertainment value.
Well, Dom's probably pretty more. You might be more factual than I
That's right.
am.
Dom Dorenzo is factual.
I mean, I read a book once.
That's you did. But you predict though. You are the soothsayer of the NBA basketball. You name it. You can pick the champion.
I could say soothsayer now because I got my tooth in.
You do got your tooth.
My
in.
chiclet's back.
Your chiclet's back. Nice. All right. I'm Lon Wilson, Dan Craven. I have Rich Baylor with me. We are going to be right back. More good sports on the way. Hang in there.
Can I have one?
Welcome back to Good Sports, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the beautiful Conneaut Lake, actually on Conneaut Lake, on my vessel here, and I got my first mate, Sean Brown. I'm John Swick. We are back to do a popular, what we think is going to be a popular segment for the show. First of all, Brown Dog, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. You know, we were talking earlier about things that are important on boats because a lot of people don't realize how much really goes into boating. It's not you just jump out here and, you know, just pull out here and just have a good time. There's a lot of things that go and a lot of preparation that goes into it. And I think it'd be a good idea for us to teach a few of those things.
I think that's great. You know, there is manuals, there's the Boat and Fish Commission, there's a lot of people tell you what you should have on your boat. We're going to go through a few of those, and then we're going to show you actually what is essential to have on your boat if you're boating here on Conneaut Lake. So I'm going to give this the microphone to Brown Dog, and I'll bring a couple up to show you what's recommended by our trusted authorities here who patrol our waters.
So what we're going to go through here is things that are mostly just kind of suggested. It's suggested that you have a fire extinguisher just in case a fire breaks out, something like that. You know, since you're on water and really there's pretty much no land to go to, they suggest that you have that. There's also this strange suggestion. They want you to have these floating things, life preservers, they like to call them. I don't see too many lives being preserved by them, but you know, hey, chuck a couple of them on the boat, see how it works out.
I prefer the bright orange color. That's just my personal preference.
They also have much cooler ones that I thought they were just kind of decorations for on jet skis, but apparently they serve a second purpose.
We also have your boater registration and your other documents that prove that yes, you do own the boat, and two, that you have properly registered, so the state gets their love from your boating enjoyment. And of course,
from your checking account.
Yes, what all good jet ski people need to have now, and this is of course Bridget's, is the boater safety card. People now, you cannot just go out and drive a jet ski without going online and taking the test, which I duly took for myself and for a couple other people as well, and it was a lot of fun.
And if I remember correctly, Bridget actually outscored you on that pretty well, didn't she? Here's another suggested item. Some people have them. Some people just like to have their boats just kind of float around freely. An anchor, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, this you may not know what this particular item is. It looks like perhaps some kind of modified life jacket. It actually is a dog life jacket. So when you bring the pup out, feel free like we did with Frank, and maybe we can get a quick cutaway to Frank. As we did with Frank, the loaf of bread, as Lon has affectionately called him, we have a life jacket for him. And last but not least, typically when you have your car keys, you have them on a typical chain, like I do, nothing too special. But remember, when you're boating, you are on water. And when you are on water and you drop a metal object in the water,
apparently it sinks.
it's going to sink. Apparently that's what my chemistry teacher told me, or physics. What would you think that would come under?
I think either one. Density is really the issue.
Flash Flusher may know that. My science teacher back in the day. Anyhow, one of these little orange plastic things come in handy in case you do happen to drop the item in the water. So.
Now, most good boaters actually have those on all of their keys. Unfortunately, we only use them just on the boat keys, which is kind of a strange anachronism.
So now, we've seen what typical boaters would have. However, when you boat on Conneaut Lake, there's a different twist that we may have to boating, or we do have the boating. And we're going to show you now what really is needed to boat effectively and funly. Funly, like that word? Funly on Conneaut Lake.
Mostest funly.
Yes.
First things first. Got to have the football. Going over to the sandbar, you're going to chuck the football around. These are essential goods. These are things that you have to have before you can even pull out a.
That's right. You know, the life jacket, you can give or take it. You need a football.
And most boats have multiple footballs. Like this one has 3.
Yes.
So.
What else we got in the bag of tricks? Ladies and gentlemen.
The noodle.
The noodle. Now, we had reference to the noodle earlier, and it was about grabbing fish or animals or something.
Yeah, I don't know what
crap.
that was all about.
I don't understand. Whenever I hear noodle or noodling, here we go, right here.
I think Cuppo noodles, or I think this is Pat Swick's favorite floating device, which we always wondered, because we jumped in on it, and we couldn't really float on it too well. But he weighs twice as much as us, and he floats on it pretty well.
He's a little more buoyant, perhaps.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, what else do we have in the bag of tricks over there? This is a critically essential tool to boating enjoyment here on Conneaut Lake.
Number 1, we need the koozie.
Otherwise known as the koozie.
Yeah, we like to call it a koozie or a pop holder,
Huggy.
water holder, huggy. You have to have one for cans, then you have to have another for bottles. And this works out real nice. This is Fred's Tavern, one of John's hot spots out in Jersey. So there you go. So you need the bottle holder and you need the can holder.
Not that we're promoting drinking, however. Those are simply for non-alcoholic beverages.
Deck of cards. Get your euchre on.
Yes.
If it's not too windy, you can get a nice little euchre game going on. Preferably earlier in the afternoon. Later in the afternoon, it seems like the quality of euchre actually goes downhill.
Yes. And when you're sitting there playing euchre, you need to look out for... I thought we were going to go for the sun products.
Oh, let's do that.
The segue didn't work real well there, but we'll get over that.
There you go. We got a lot of different. See, we got your SPF 4. Apparently, I don't know what this SPF stands for. Something about the sun, and I think the lower the better is what I'm hearing.
It's numerology though, because they all have numbers associated with them.
Right.
We find
so
out.
I don't know. You know.
We have 15.
Here's some 30.
We have the dark tanning oil. The women seems to like that.
Yeah, that doesn't even have an SPF. I think that's just like cocoa butter.
Yeah.
Then we got a 4, and then we got a couple others here. We just always maintain. The lip balm's really important.
You can't have chapped lips in boat.
Right.
I mean, that's essential. Sure, you can boat without a lot of the other things that we've seen, but if you have chapped lips, don't even bother coming on the water.
And pretty much everything else on your body can be chapped, but the lips, you got to keep those good. So we keep some lip balms and then some nose and ear balms and that kind of stuff. Then there's a lotion. I don't know, you can get some lotion. And then we got finally the Hawaiian Tropic. I think that's about all the sun protection stuff.
Yeah, I think so. How about towels? Most people would think that a towel is a towel is a towel, and you can buy any towel. However, there's different absorbency rates in towels.
This is actually a critical thing that John and I thought was important to teach everybody coming out on any lake, really, not just Conneaut Lake, that towels, not only absorbency, but thickness is also an issue. So when you go to Walmart and buy beach towels from Walmart, typically they're about the thickness of a Bounty paper towel.
Yes.
And they really don't serve much of a purpose, really.
And this advice is particularly directed to my brother Mike, who likes to come out on the boat on occasion, and he tends to bring the Bounty-like towel, which is quickly discarded as the day wears on.
I'll kind of turn this sideways. You might lose view of it when I turn it sideways because that's how thin it is. So we definitely, that's something to think about. Good towels on the boat are really important.
I think that's about it. Well, the temperature gauge, maybe.
Well, we got a couple others.
Oh, yeah.
Corkscrew, forget about it.
You need it.
Self-explanatory.
Critical. Don't even get out of the dock without it.
Advil, usually come in handy on a really hot day.
Yes.
5, 6 o'clock, you might want to
You need Advil.
throw
you need
a couple
it.
of these.
There's no doubt about it.
The multi-tool. We found the multi-tool to be very important to us because corkscrew.
Backup corkscrew.
That's
Just in
right.
case you lose the main corkscrew.
There you go.
That has the backup corkscrew.
And water. You need lots of water.
Hydrate.
Yeah.
Hydrate, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't overhydrate.
And finally,
Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
Finally, well, you know, sometimes people like to do different things.
we don't know what to do with that, but
but,
you
you
need
know.
it on the boat. And finally,
And then there you go.
before you jump into the water, check with the frog. He'll tell you what the temperature is. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Safe boating, enjoyable boating on Conneaut Lake from my buddy DWB. We'll be back in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Good Sports. We are out on the lake in Conneaut, and I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the thrill of my lifetime. 75 degrees, beautiful weather. We're on the Swick vessel. John, what's the name of this vessel?
Well, my brother Pat wanted me to get the pontoon boat and call it the SS Fat. With
The
a
SS
PH.
Fat.
PH18.
But I steered away from that. So in fact, maybe we could have a contest here.
That's a
Maybe
good idea.
People could email in
Name
the
John's
appropriate name for the boat. Yes.
Or
That's what-
inappropriate.
that's it. You can email us at, CTV-13, probably one of the most unpopular email choices.
Nobody seems to be able to
Nobody
find
seems
it.
to be able to find that email address.
But you know what? I think that we'll throw in a Good Sports T-shirt.
That's right. You know what?
Google it.
That's right. Good Sports T-shirt. In fact, that'll be our contest. Good Sports T-shirt for the person who comes out with the best name for John Swick's boat.
I'm excited.
You can't beat that. But let me introduce our blue ribbon panel before we open it up here. And we have, of course, Rich Failer. We're going to get into a fishing contest a little bit later.
I think I already won though.
Rich on the docks. Yes, Rich caught, I believe, 3 or 4 fish already.
I counted.
That's right. It didn't count to mine. I caught some, what do you call it, grass pike?
Grass pike.
Yeah, grass pike. Yes. And of course, we have the dude, Dan Craven, as always, who is very attuned, very adept to the fishing lingo.
Well,
I
yeah.
am impressed.
Well, you know, I've been an angler for a while. It's just that everything's a little bit on the back shelf since other things come into my
That's
life.
right.
But I want to get the line wet again, so to speak.
That's right. You know, good call. Good call. He does know the
He
language.
knows his angles.
Of course,
He's like Copernicus.
That's right.
Copernicus. Nice, nice call. We have Sean Brown, of course, which we did the Danny Bonaducci look-alike a little bit earlier.
Why don't you show
Can we do it?
Show
Yeah,
it.
show him.
Yeah, what do you
That
got,
is-
kid?
You blow it up a little bit.
Don't need to.
Actually, he looks
the
more like
summertime deal.
Michael Glaser from Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, nice,
Paul
nice
Michael
call.
Glaser.
Yes, yeah, Paul Michael Glaser. So well, maybe we get a photo of that too. I don't know. Kevin Tomney, our executive producer,
He'll do the look-alike.
he'll do the lookalike for us. And of course, we have John
Weed
Swick, the captain of this vessel, which we're going to
Yes.
try to name this boat. And ladies and gentlemen, let's open up your blue ribbon panel.
Well, we've seen this before.
Batteries here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your blue ribbon panel. Since we're on battery power, we're going to have 3 questions for our panel, and then our close. Maybe we'll even do just 2 questions in our close, because sometimes we get carried away.
Yes.
So, but I want to start off by saying the U.S. Open, it was exciting to me. It was fun to watch, maybe because it was in Pennsylvania, Tiger Woods making the run. But a lot of the hubbub and the flap occurred on the last day on Sunday when Angel Cabrera from Argentina was driving up the fairway, and the cameraman and the announcers caught him smoking a cigarette going up the fairway. Now, the announcers appropriately, you know what, they sloughed it off as a thing. This man's got the nerves. He's doing it. But you know what, a lot of people out there were singing the blues, crying it. You know, our country's toppling because Angel Cabrera was walking up the fairway with a cigarette in his hand. John Swick, what do you feel?
Last I checked, smoking cigarettes is legal here in the United States. And despite the do-gooders who want to dictate to you what to eat, what to do and not do, I mean, he's free to smoke the cigarette. I know all of us go out to the public links and play golf on occasion. We see people out there smoking. It's not a big deal. It brings into question how good, what are these athletes, how good of athletes are if they're smoking during the event. But I think they're more disappointed in the fact that Tiger or Jim Furyk didn't win than they are that Angel Cabrera is smoking his fag down on the
Yes.
on the 18th fairway. Because who in that audience, both on TV and there live, wanted this guy to win? I could say nobody did except for him and his caddy. That was probably the bigger disappointment. But I thought they handled it well on TV. But you're right, that false sense of holier-than-thou attitude to attack this guy. I'm sure in his country, everybody smoked.
In Argentina, they start at 5.
Yeah.
So, that's right. Okay, good call. Sean Brown.
Well, you know, actually, I heard a reference the other day. Somebody was saying, back in the day, Arnold Palmer, I mean, the guy always had a square in his mouth
Yeah,
walking
he used
up
to reach for the Winchesters all the time.
Right, and they actually were sponsored. A lot of these guys were sponsored. They do, commercials for Chamberlain and, these different cigarettes. What was it, Richfield? Or what was he?
Well,
Chesterfield,
yeah.
The Home Run Derby back in the 60s with Willie Mays and these guys was sponsored by Chesterfield. And in the breakaways, they'd have, Willie Mays and Ted Williams smoking a cigarette, advertising stuff. So
I think Jim Beam was advertising.
Jim Beam too, yeah.
But it's just the same issues nonetheless. I mean, Jim Leland, he's been known to tuck back in a dugout and smoke a cigarette. So you know what? I mean, hey, on a golf course, I've never really worried about secondhand smoke on a golf course. So I don't really think he's hurting too much. I think they might want to go down the road to one of the factories down there around Oakmont and pester those guys rather than hit Angel Cabrera. So congratulations to the guy, not the most likable guy in the world, but anyway, made for good TV to have a really good threesome to close that thing out. So
Dan Craven.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of echoing the group here. Of course, you got Tiger Woods who's the #1 golfer in the world, and he's cut, he's real, he's muscular, and he's losing to a guy that's slightly overweight, his shirt's untucked, and he's smoking a cigarette.
That's classic.
The PGA of all the sports probably has one of the most stringent sets of rules that anybody. You can't touch a blade of grass, you can't move this twig. Every person, every threesome, when I was there on Friday, had a rules interpreter with them. So if the PGA wants not to have people smoke, or if golf doesn't want that, or that's ruining their image, they're going to put it in their rules. I know that minor league baseball people are not allowed to chew in the dugout or whatever because, they say they're promoting a bad image for the kids. Like you say, the guy's, how old is he? He smokes, he chooses to smoke, and unless it becomes a rule, unless it's written in the rule book, congratulations, Angel. I'm going to call you Angel because I'm not a Spanish. Angel Cabrera. You made some shots. I was there at the course on Friday. I saw those greens.
97-yard drive, Dan Craven.
He busted it.
He's popular.
It's not as much as that. You can have the drive. He's known for a big hitter. It's the fact that he stuck the greens. He stuck the greens. Nobody else did. Congratulations. Get off his back. If he wants to smoke if he wanted to smoke the fescue on the way down to 17, put it in the rule book if you don't want to have it on TV.
All right, Rich Failer, comments.
Oh, basically all I can say is, first of all, I don't smoke, but to me, it's a non-issue. I mean, it's legal. He wasn't hurting anybody else. And to me, it's just commentators trying to find something to talk about.
Yeah, good call. I'm very glad to sum it up. Now, Rich summed it up nicely.
How about smoking when you fish, Rich? Do you think that's an advantageous or disadvantageous?
Well, it tells you which direction the wind's going.
See, there you go. One of the other advantages.
I tell you, we ought to have a weekly spot with Failer. Facts with Failer.
That's it.
He does. He gets right to the point. I want to say this about that event. And you know what? And all those people that are out there screaming about their kids being exposed to something like Angel Cabrera smoking, tell your kids to turn off South Park and see what happens. Tell your kids to turn off HBO late at night and see what happens. Tell your kids to stop watching Family Guy and see what happens.
He's climbing on the
Tell your kids to stop going to R-rated movies and see what happens. And in the meantime, when you're saying, oh, I'd rather have them drink at home in front of me so I know they're not doing it elsewhere, you know what? Lighten up a little bit. It's just, you know what? The big guy was coming up the fairway with a smoke. He was in a pressure-packed situation in one of the most prestigious golf outings or the golf tournaments in the world, and they caught human drama right there on the camera. Not that I approve of it, but you know what? It's not illegal. It was fun to watch. It added to the drama and to the show. And you know what? I like Angel Cabrera.
Angel.
That's right, Angel Cabrera. All right, next question. NBA Finals. The NBA Finals, and the talk now is that the Cleveland Cavaliers absolutely cannot do anything else more unless they rebuild a team right around the man himself, LeBron James. Of course, they went out 0-4. We didn't get a prediction from Dan, but I'm sure Dan would have predicted. He would have predicted the Spurs to take it.
Iceman.
But let me tell you, let's talk about this now. King James, what does he need in his court?
Well, that was actually going to be my final shout-out, so you stole a little of my thunder.
Well, we can move on to another question.
That's all right. It was frustrating watching that finals. The fact that the Cavaliers got there, however, if you have to look back at the beginning of the year, if someone said the Cavs were going to be in the NBA Finals, I think anyone in Cleveland would have taken that. Any Cleveland Cavalier fan would have taken that. Obviously, that team was a little starstruck. The first two games, they were completely blown out until the third and fourth quarter. The team does not seem to be put together all that well, and they did struggle. But it's a testament to San Antonio. San Antonio is a great team. I mean, they've won 3 championships in the last 7 years. They're a very good team. They got 3 All-Stars and great complementary players, and I think it was more a case of the Spurs just being a better team maybe than the Cavaliers falling apart. And I'm going to save part 2 of that answer for my final.
Okay,
shot.
very good, very good. One final though, San Antonio, dynasty or not dynasty?
If you went 3 out of 7 in the era of free agency, they got to be looked back as the best team of the new millennium.
This decade, yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right, good call. Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
That's Fidel.
I was going for Che Guevara, but hey, take what you can get. No, you know what?
I know.
I thought
I
it was the worst NBA Finals ever. I mean, it was dreadful to watch, and I was rooting for the Cavs, so I watched the games, but it was really painful to watch. And I think one of the jewels of the NBA that we're missing, Tony Parker, is the truth. I mean, that guy is.
He is.
It's amazing
Just
watching
because
him
of
slice
the
through the
obligatory
whole.
Eva Longoria shot.
Well, yeah,
That doesn't
exactly.
hurt.
Just for that reason alone. I mean,
doesn't hurt.
there's a reason she's attracted to him. But I mean, he's a great player. And San Antonio's just an amazing team. The question actually deals with this LeBron James. He could use a point guard other than Eric Snow. Larry Hughes is just. He's just not going to do the job. They could use a presence. They could use some guys with some better hands than Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who can't hold on to a rebound to save his life. They got killed in every aspect of the game. There was no aspect of the game where they really, owned that. But at the same time, talk about rebuilding. They were in the NBA Finals.
That's right.
Everybody loved Detroit. Everybody loved Miami. You run down the laundry list who everybody was in love with, Chicago,
Yeah.
and who comes up at the end.
Cleveland.
So LeBron, I think, you know what, he I don't know if he hasn't created a legacy yet, but you know what?
He's
He
created a lot of
definitely
fun.
showed he's the guy. He's the guy, right?
All right, we got to move on to Dan Craven.
Yeah, I think you asked what Cleveland needs in their court, or the King needs in his court, LeBron. I think they need experience. I mean, it just goes to show. Let's face it. I don't care what you say. When you get into a playoff situation, you can throw the regular season away. You're talking about playing the same team maybe in and out right in a row, and there's something to be said about teams that have been in the playoffs versus a team that hasn't been in the
Pittsburgh
playoffs.
Penguins, great example.
And so you're talking about people that have been there, they step it up a notch. And so, again, you got to give Cleveland credit. Everybody's forgetting about the run they did against Detroit. They're down 2 games, they come back and win just to get into the final. So, I'm echoing Shawnee on that one. So I think you got to give them credit. I don't think you got to just close them yet. You got to get playoff experience to get playoff experience. And I hope the true test is like a rookie in any sport. What's your sophomore year going to look like? Let's see how Cleveland reacts to this. If they come out and get into the playoffs next year, then they have a chance. But if they falter, then maybe it was just a shot in the dark.
Good call.
Yeah, it's
Good
like
call.
saying rebuild the Penguins, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
right,
would
you
rebuild
don't.
the Penguins? Yeah.
All right, Rich Failer. Basketball. You can dismiss. You can just pass.
I'm
on
going to
this.
say no comment with this explanation. Okay.
Okay.
That's right. That's good.
I never really got into Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal because I'm still stuck with Michael Jordan. So
that's right.
That's just where I stopped.
You got to
with
let go of the past, Rich. Got to let
That's
it
tough.
go.
Hey, yeah, but something's good.
That's
You
right.
save to give it
LeBron's the
up.
next.
Yes.
LeBron's the next Michael Jordan.
I'm
I
going to
think he
finish
is.
up and follow
I
just
think he
the
is.
final comment on the NBA. And John, you're good at math, aren't you?
I
How
went to
many
law
teams
school,
we?
that's
How
all
many
I'm not.
times we? You're a philosopher. Okay, Brian. How many teams we have in the NBA?
30, what is it? 30,
philosopher.
30 even, yeah.
30 even. How many are on the roster in each team?
12.
Yeah, 12.
12. So what's 30 times 12?
Well, you got 300.
30
10 times 12.
Yeah,
Then you got
200, yeah.
Yeah.
30 times 12 is 360.
Yeah, 360. So yeah, 360 professional players in the NBA. Let's just take the Cleveland Browns. Now you have 360 professional players out of the entire world, and if I'm not mistaken, the NBA is the pinnacle
Yes.
of success.
Yeah.
So those players that are on the Cleveland Cavaliers are on the top 300 players in the world, playing on the courts of the NBA. And I'm telling you what, people who are bad-mouthing the court around him, you know what? They are great ball players to even be on the stage in the NBA. So enough said about that. Get off of the LeBron needed all the support in the world kind of thing. San Antonio flat out was just a better ball club. And by the way, they beat San Antonio twice in the regular season, 2-0 against them.
Doesn't mean a whole lot now.
Stuff that in your heads. Anyway, let's go on to, I got so much, I wanted to get on to tonight. Joakim Noah demurring on a workout with the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of things going on, but I want to get to final comments right now. We got some, well, they're not fans. They just want us to get out of their way. How you doing?
It's a big lake.
That's right. It's a big lake there, Buster. But anyway, let's go to final comments. John Swick.
as I said, I'm going to continue the theme of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two things that really struck me. One, how that team was put together. It was really kind of a mix and mishmash of players that didn't really gel together too well. Larry Hughes getting hurt, obviously, was a significant blow in the finals. But I think that Ferry, was it? Yeah, Ferry was their GM.
Danny Ferry, yeah.
Yeah, Danny Ferry being the GM. The team is really, there's a bunch of young guys in the team I think you keep and build around that core, and that's LeBron. That's good, and he's only 23 years old.
Do you get rid of Booby?
No, Booby's just, he's a rookie. He's still there. And Varejao coming off the bench. I mean, you got those guys, which is a core of young guys. Then you got some older guys that aren't producing. You get rid of them. Eric Snow. I think Z's got to go. I think, they got some deadwood on the bench.
Danielle.
So Danielle Marshall and Mike Damon Jones.
It'd certainly be a different team with Carlos Boozer still there.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
definitely
Emerson
would be.
Boozer.
But
He played football.
the other thing that disappointed me is the coaching in that series. If you watched, Brown did not make any adjustments to what the Spurs were doing offensively for the Cavs. The Cavs never posted LeBron up, and when they did, he didn't take a straw into the hoop. They kept running the same high screen and roll all the time. It was even a high school basketball coach or even a junior high basketball coach would have saw what the Spurs were doing and would have been able to adjust. And in fact, Mike Brown didn't do that the whole series, which was particularly disappointing because the Cavs are noted as a great defensive team and they played good defense. Some of those games were in the 70s and 80s.
Gave up 75 points in one game.
Yeah,
Lost.
you can't fault that against the Spurs, who are an excellent offensive team. So while he seems to be an excellent defensive coach, their offense was just non-existent, and it wasn't able to adjust. So I think the change of maybe some personnel to get some guys that more guys that can shoot, so LeBron can penetrate and kick, and those guys can catch and shoot guys. Plus with a little bit of more ingenuity on offense, I think the Cavs can be right back. But I think what you said, playoff experience, is exactly right. You need to be in the finals one time to be able to win it. And now that they're there one time, I think they're going to have a greater chance of
They
winning
got the
next
taste.
time.
All right,
Yeah.
good call. John Swick is just pontificating tonight.
Can you say
I'm
that
on my
on-
element.
You are. And John, a little bit ago, he
element.
says, I'm not a mathematician, I'm a philosopher. That is a good call. He is a philosopher. Because he's the reason. That's right. All right.
It's true.
I got it. I'm going to have to do it here. I'm going to have to do it. You know
Cubs?
what?
You
We
going
knew it was
Cubs?
going to. No, I'm not going Cubs. You
All
know,
the fights for Cubs, you're not going Cubs.
we knew it was going to happen. The Yankees. Clemens
here
comes
we go.
out. They win 9 in a row. All of a sudden, they're 13 games out, 13 and a half games. The last time we filmed the show, we're counting them out. 13 and a half games out. It's all over. All of a sudden, Clemens comes around. I don't understand what this guy brings to a team. That his mere presence in only home games, in only games he starts, but all of a sudden the confidence went up.
He's getting a text message.
I know, look at that. That's usually my job.
He's getting a text message during the course of the show.
But all of a sudden, here come the Yankees, and you know what? When it's all said and done, they're starting to hit. They're really starting to get things together, and they're going to make a run at things.
Yeah.
So, Steinbrenner, you can say he spent $15 zillion. This is probably one of their oldest, definitely one of their poorest pitching staffs. But it's going to happen. Things are going to happen here good. Oh, boy, we're getting ready to get rammed. We're getting rammed over here. So anyway, a little shout out. I got to give a little love to the Yankees. And boy, you know what? You can't hate Derek Jeter, man. That dude is a straight winner.
You can hate Derek Jeter.
You can
Anyway,
hate the whole Yankees for getting
I
picked
want
out.
my
Jeter's a straight winner, period.
He is. I want my wife to know that I will answer her text messages
During the
while
course
I'm
of the
taping
show.
a show.
Anytime.
Because I figured it would be an emergency. She knows I'm out here taping.
You can pick your BBs up later.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go to Dan Craven. Final comments.
Yeah, I'm going to switch to the
Nice
ice.
spokesman.
I'm going to switch to the ice thing. I got to say that I'm going to talk about the NHL awards, and I think we're talking about sophomore years and people really prove themselves. And I'm going to tell you, Sidney Crosby's a real deal. He just won the MVP of the league, and
Most outstanding player.
and everything that could have gone well, he could have won the Lady Byng on top of that, but they got to give the hardware to somewhere else. Of course, he led the league in scoring, but the also thing is Malkin wins the Rookie of the Year, and so on and so forth. But I just found out not too long ago, after the Penguins were eliminated in the playoffs, but he was playing with a broken foot. Oh, let's figure this out. Here's a kid that leads the league in scoring. Here's a kid that's he's 19 years old. He's in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, playing with a broken foot. And how many people out there knew it till after the fact? Nobody. And the reason why I asked that is because he didn't play for Team Canada and the team that they played in Europe. I wondered where he was. They said he had a broken foot. My hat's off to this kid. This kid has a lot of guts. He also was named captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, so he is officially the youngest captain ever to be named to an NHL team. Just add that to the kid's resume. This kid's the real deal. He's going to be up there with Gretzky. He's going to be up there with Lemieux. He's going to be up there with Messier. He's going to be up there with all the Mahovliches and Yvonne Corneliers and all the people.
Eddie Shore,
Eddie Shores, Toe Blakes.
Old-time hockey.
Old-time hockey.
Barring a serious injury, this kid is the real deal, and I'm glad Pittsburgh has him.
That is, and I tell you what, thank God they saved him and they're staying in Pittsburgh.
Well,
he also was voted by his peers most outstanding player too.
He's amazing.
This
He's
is
amazing.
a follow-up actually to Dan. What do you think?
Oh, you
because you're a big
shout
hockey
out to
fan.
Annie. Yeah.
You're a big hockey fan. Gretzky, at that age, is he better? Do you think at that age than Gretzky was?
I think.
I mean, in this day and age, this is a much different. It's a different game, obviously.
It's a different game.
Because he's scoring 90 goals in a year. You know, he's
think-
amazing. I mean, he's an amazing specimen.
In a way, it's almost apples and oranges, because you remember when the Edmonton Oilers were coming in just on the heels of the Broad Street Bullies, when the Philadelphia Flyers, and so there were still a lot of goons. So there were still a lot of headhunters. I don't know if you have that as much as a game now. So maybe kind of Gretzky was in an era where he was better at center because you can't hit him in the center of the ice as much as you can along the boards. But I think when it comes to, as far as skating ability and elusiveness, I think Crosby has better wheels than Gretzky does. I think as vision-wise, I think time's going to tell. But this kid does stuff that falling through the air, scoring on one knee. This kid has a knack. I think
plus
he has an
Gretzky
edge.
was playing with 5 Hall of Famers.
I think he has an edge.
And Wayne Gretzky will always be Wayne Gretzky. There will be no other player like him. Comparing Crosby to Lemieux is a good comparison.
I think Crosby has an edge
because Lemieux shares.
I think
and so did and Malkin may be the Yager, to Lemieux.
Right.
Yari Curry to Gretzky.
That's right. The Mike Pavlich to Toe Blake.
Toe Blake. Well, Swick has a shout out. He forgot.
You got a shout. She's
I got
your
a shout out.
employee.
Yeah, but she wants to hear from you.
We'll both do it. We'll both do it. Then.
All right, shout out to the co-worker of the dude, Amy Bavakwa.
Amy
Apparently,
Bavakwa,
it's
happy
what,
birthday.
her 18th birthday?
I think she's 18.
Is 18 years old.
And she's the youngest 18-year-old with a master's degree that I know.
Yeah.
That's right. I want to go on
sped through
record, too,
school.
saying that the staff at the Meadville Medical Center, my wife was in a few weeks ago, and they did a wonderful job taking care of her.
How about they were voted the
wonderful
number
people.
one facility
For
to
hip
have
and knee.
hip and knee replacement
And
in the country?
that was national. And Dr. Ferndak
That's
is
amazing.
Yeah, that is a huge award. In fact, he's just getting back from Orlando, Florida to accept the award. That is a huge award.
That
Yeah,
really
so
is.
hats
I
off
couldn't
to
believe
Meadville
it.
Medical Center
Well,
and all
yeah.
those people.
Thank
And
you.
when I walked
Nice
in,
segue.
check this out. When I walk in with my wife, all these ladies are behind the glass, protected, of course, from people like me. And they're like, "We know who you are," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, how you watch the show?" Trying to play it off, be cool, because
And they said, "Have a
they're
seat."
fans. You got to be nice to them, Rich.
And it happens all the time.
No,
for you.
but what they say is we like Dan Craven better. He's much funnier. So I was like, oh snap!
That's my staff. Rock on. Ambulatory care, rock on.
Yeah, they made me change the channels manually in the room. They didn't even give me the remote.
That's ridiculous.
That's for Amy.
But a shout out to all those people there too. Great work. Rich Failer, final comments. What's got you upset in the world of sports?
Upset?
Yeah.
Or what do you like?
Do you have
Either
any
one.
points or opinion?
Or in the world of fishing, for that matter.
How about the local guy?
I just think the best way for me to finish is just to say I appreciate you guys having me here, and I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's been a
I've really
blast
enjoyed
having
it.
you out
I'm glad to
here.
have you.
As far as comments in organized sports, I really don't follow it. I'm sorry, I just don't.
All those books you're
I hope
writing.
I hope I can stay in a boat for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Having
Yeah, you're
said
good.
that,
We're gonna learn how to
Fine.
fish here.
You're fine. We take all kind. We take Brownie every time. So.
That's right.
okay, point. Okay.
And if you bump into Brownie, you may want to ask him out for dinner.
Trying to find somebody to take me out to dinner tonight. I don't know. Haven't had much luck yet.
Okay, my final comments, and I started digging into this a little bit earlier, and I used to be a big fan of the panels that they used to have on the Basketball Smith. Mr. Smith has finally irritated me beyond the point where I don't like him anymore. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Guy from Philadelphia.
No, yes.
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, he's
yes.
horrible.
Smith.
He's
I used to
horrible.
really like Stephen A. Smith,
Oh, I never
and
liked
now he is after the NBA playoffs. I was a fan, and you don't really care because I don't care about you. You don't care about me. But you know what? You've pushed the buttons a little bit too far. You are a Players fan. I don't care what you mask it with.
He's an apologist.
You're an apologist. You go after just like anybody else. You take the sides of who you like at the time, and you switch up when you have to. You absolutely blasted the Cleveland Cavaliers on how pathetic they were and the supporting cast around him, Stephen A. Smith, if you could actually talk and pronunciate better than half those players, I'd be impressed.
How about
You
that when
know-
you bust out, let me tell you something about the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's right.
And he says it so loud that you're supposed to say, well,
I
that
know.
must be the truth.
I used to like you. I don't anymore. So anyway, that's all I got. You know what? Let's do some fishing, boys. What do you say?
All right.
I'm all
All right.
right.
Hey,
Do some fishing.
I want to say this one more thing, too. Before we end the show here, we're going to flash up information. Don't forget, Margaritaville tickets are on sale at the Mark right now. Big Kahuna contest, big giveaways, the whole 9 yards. So don't forget about Margaritaville.
And for a t-shirt.
And for a t-shirt, name John's Boat. Call CTV or email CTV-13 at zoominternet.net. Jeff's giving hand signals. I can't see because I got
He
blinding
wants me
sun
to
in my
jump
eye.
in. I ain't jumping
He wants you to jump in. That ain't going to happen. All right, boys, let's go fishing.
Here we are at Conneaut Lake, and we've got a bunch of people that are fishing. And this is a competition, so we got to be very quiet.
Dry fly, wet fly, anybody's guess. Got a knot in my leader and my line's all a mess.
Mean it.
Oh, you're talking real top line pro fishing here. Chicks dig
Actually,
fishing.
you gotta be able to
Hey,
grab the fish.
Paul Horosky, eat your heart out, man.
Fish ain't biting. Fish ain't biting no more.
You know what's the worst thing about that tournament I fished in? Our team came in last place, and I'm walking up the plank with our fish, and who would be there at the end of the plank but Gary Clark to yell out obnoxious comments about
Gary
how
Clark,
small,
are you
how
serious?
small my fish were.
Gonna read in my line and head back to the shore.
Let's get the bow cast.
And we can slow this up too. So you
Bow and
can,
arrow cast.
Bow and arrow cast.
the secret is to make sure the treble hook doesn't get you in the finger.
Well, you got to hold the hook right here.
That's right. You
Or
want
you
to hold.
don't do it again.
No, that's right. You only do it once. Because then the ER doc asks you what you were doing.
Then you have to tell them.
You gotta tell him. That's right.
What's the
I'm
fishing
just trying to stay out
allowed?
of the way so I don't get hooked. Just take big weight.
Now, what kind of bird do we have flying by here? This is huge. Is that what that is?
Yep.
You get a shot of that, Jeff?
Right there.
The checker's got a good shot at that. That's
You're
beautiful.
good, thanks.
Fish ain't biting. Fish ain't biting no more.
Oh, boys, I got one.
So you got one, Lon?
Yeah, I got one.
Where's the net?
Get the net.
Get the net. It's
I
over
got the
there.
net. I got the net. We need it, Lon.
I don't know. I'm trying not to snap it right now.
You know, I'll tell you what. I'd like to.
All right, here we go.
I wouldn't mind having a fillet
Oh
of
my
sole.
God. Oh,
Fillet of sole.
sweet. Let me get the forceps for this one. What do you say, Rich?
It stinks.
Does that catch a
Hey,
release?
I got to bow to you, man. You got the biggest one.
that's
It stinks.
Hey, I like that. All right.
Gonna